Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
And welcome to our night 2 stream here. We're not going to be on the entire second and third rounds like we did the 4-hour first round last night, but we figured we'd jump in here and watch the first part of the second round. As scheduled, the Vikings don't have a pick for like hours and hours. I don't know, 3.5 hours or something, whatever the timing is with that 97th pick. But you never know. You never know. Judd, famously, Judd had a coworker one time who long ago anchored night 1 of the NFL draft on the old 15.
Yeah, it was the Harrison Smith trade.
Yeah. And you say, you know what? They're done picking, or their scheduled picks have concluded, and so I'm going to go home. And then they traded back in, and we missed the live coverage there. So
I called in to say, hey, we got to go back on. I was told that's not possible.
No, it's not going to happen. No. So we'll kick around. We've got a few questions to pose here. By the way, I did some digging around on just like what are people saying about Donovan Jackson that we didn't talk about earlier today. Dex actually had a face-to-face conversation with a Purple Daily anonymous tip line submitter.
Oh boy.
Yeah, did they have like a bag over their head when they were talking to you, or a disguised voice, or how does that work in person?
No, a normal looking fella, normal looking Vikings fan. I will say in classic Judd fashion, which actually probably helps the anonymous tip line. I did forget his name.
That's better that way.
But that's better, obviously, that way. So should be all good.
Forget my name ASAP after I tell you this information. Judd, one person came up to me in the VIP pregame meet and greet last night and said, my favorite recent memory on the show, I think you were there. My favorite recent memory on the show was Judd trying to find his canopy notes.
Yeah.
So do you have your canopy notes right now?
Let me see here. Oh, yeah, I do.
There we go.
I do have them, and let me tell you about the Canopy Group since I've got the notes right here. It's they are an in-state-based independent insurance company that has your best interest in mind. Much like a team trying to find a draft pick, much like a sports executive constantly on the lookout for the best talent available, Canopy Group's going to do the same for you when it comes to getting the best insurance coverage at the best price. What they do is they work with 16 groups of top-tier companies to make sure that you have the best insurance roster available for auto, home, health, and business. So definitely check them out. And here's the thing, too. At renewal, you're going to hear from them because they are constantly scanning the waiver wire, trying to find the best deals possible for you. Give them a call, 1-800-967-3389, or check out their website, thecanopygroup.com. That's thecanopygroup.com.
While you're at it, let's talk about Butcher and the Boar. A great place. I mean, if it's a Wolves game or something, I'm sure there's people right now at Butcher and the Boar pregame as we sit here.
I mean, how about the Wild or the Wild? How about the Vikings? How about the Vikings first round pick, huh?
That dude could.
That's
house
a guard.
Some Butcher and the Boar.
That's a guy. Like if he was to say, "Sports Dad, you have been in this town forever. I am new here. Where should I go for a meal befitting of an offensive guard?" I'm going to tell him right now. It is the Butcher and the Boar, located in the North Loop. A perfect date night. Heck, if you're going to a Wolves game, perfect to stop in before a Wolves or Twins game. Absolutely fantastic Southern-style hospitality. Happy hour 4 to 6 every day. And if you want, get the Judd Special. What's that? It's a beer, a brat, and a shot for $15. A huge handmade beer brat with sauerkraut and mustard, any draft beer, any rail shot as well. So if it's a date night, if it's a game night, whatever it is, make Butcher and the Boar part of your evening in the North Loop.
Amen. This is going to be a real loosey-goosey show here, I think. We're going to be live for like 45 minutes, an hour, I don't know, and then we'll be on watch, ready to jump back in if anything crazy happens. Like Ron submits this one here, and I saw apparently Pelissero went on, I think it was KFXN radio this morning and said the same thing, that the Vikings may be looking to move up for a running back, be it tonight. Now, the two Ohio, so there's some dudes on the board, like Iowa running back, Caleb Johnson, right? And then the two Ohio State running backs.
Yep.
Clearly, the Vikings have made a concerted effort to upgrade their running game, so that seems like something to keep an eye on. What else do you think we should keep an eye on here tonight over the next few hours?
Well, I am curious. Like, here's the thing is, if you're going to move up, you're going to have to use capital from the 2026 draft. Like you can't right now. You got 3 picks left. And as you said, the first pick of the evening is towards the back half. But I guess what I would look for is at 97 potentially defensive tackle still.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you still need depth there. I think you still need. They've got some talent there, and they definitely improved themselves via free agency. That they've got Redmond there, they've got Taki Taimani, but I think that you definitely could use, if not an upgrade there, certainly more depth, rotational guys who, by the way, can step in pretty quickly and play. I wouldn't be surprised if the secondary is a place of emphasis. The running back thing would not absolutely shock me. Trading up though, I'd be very curious to see what the price would be and what they would give up. Because I don't know. Do you want to dip into your, and the answer might be yes. Do you want to dip into your 2026 draft class? But you're going to have, like right now, I believe 3 compensatory picks. So like you could do that. It wouldn't be mortgaging the future necessarily. But yeah, there's definitely some interesting areas of need, and I would say realistically that the 3rd round is probably the last round in which you can grab a guy who you're going to probably trust to play immediately. Feel like after that 4th round borderline maybe,
yeah,
and the 5th round and 6th round for sure are just flyers, flyers.
There's I pulled up the old consensus big board here from NFL mock draft database. Yeah.
Nice. Football.
That's right. So yeah, this website is kind of incredible. I know Arif Hassan has a consensus big board too. But we're using the NFL mock draft database one. They literally track every mock draft published that they can find. And they give you all this information, like the highest that player was mocked or the lowest that player was mocked. And then they have kind of the consensus average. And just looking around that 97 range, there's a bunch of familiar players that we've drafted in the exercises with Thor on our Thursday mock draft simulations. For defensive tackle, the 2 that stand out the most, Ty Robinson from Nebraska, like 6'6", 315 pounds. And then Deion Walker from Kentucky, who at one point was kind of like talent-wise was maybe like a fringe first-round pick early in the process.
We watched film on him.
Yeah, dude, there's clips on the internet of that guy.
Yeah,
but he's raw.
Clips.
He's raw though.
Right, but he's got tantalizing talent.
He does. Yeah, he's got attributes. Yeah, so he's probably a guy to keep an eye on. Some other guys that we have just positions of pseudo need here, I guess. Safety Billy Bowman from Oklahoma is 101 on the consensus big board. There's a ton of interesting running backs. We've mentioned 3 of them already, but right in that sweet spot of the 97 range. Damian Martinez from Miami is the 98th player on the consensus big board. RJ Harvey Jr. from Central Florida is 103. And let's see here. Dylan Sampson from Tennessee is 90. Cam Skadaboo. Man, I feel like we love Cam Skadaboo here, right? Just a hard-nosed, just a grinder.
It's a great
all
name.
The cliche, like, white running back names that you can come up with.
It's a fantastic name, too. Skadaboo's just such a great football last name. Yeah. Great sports last name.
Yeah, I guess I'd be a little surprised if they made a move with their 2nd draft pick on a running back. But if they have Cam Skadaboo as like the 50th player on their big board or something, and it gets to 97, all right, let's go take a really good football player. Aaron Jones is not getting any younger, and maybe it's more of a 2026 play. So I feel like it's kind of wide open what they could do tonight. There's also some stuff floating around. We've seen a couple different places, like the Jordan Addison rumors persist, where maybe they would trade a player like him for a pick and get a 5th pick that way, but it's kind of wide open right now.
Yeah, I don't probably see that now. I thought that if they were going to trade him, and I do think, I mean, there's a lot of steam out there, so I think it's safe to say that they definitely have made some phone calls. And, to go back to things that we've talked about for years now, Phil, these teams in all sports make a ton of phone calls. Like, there's a ton of names discussed, and if fans found out, it's like, oh my God, I can't believe that guy was discussed in a trade. But I almost feel like an Addison trade would have needed to come like before the draft started tonight, or I thought before the 1st round, because I don't know you're going to get enough back at this point. And I mean, he's a very good player. I don't, from the time I brought his name up as what I thought could be a trade candidate, I didn't do it because I don't think he's a great player. He's a fantastic player. But I did it because there's red flags now. Long term, you are not going to sign him to a second contract. I don't even think he'll come back here because I think his desire when his first contract is done will be to be paid and be a number one receiver, which if he stays on the right track, he can be. So that's why I thought it might be discussed. Yeah. But I'm putting the odds on an Addison trade at this point very, very small. And like you said last night, it wouldn't be surprising at all if that is the case. It gets revisited in a year from now, not for 2025.
Yeah. We're not going to sit here all night and give you pick by pick by pick like not. Last night.
The fans want that, though, I thought.
Well, man, that was very triggering for at least me. Like, why don't you shut up and put the ESPN coverage on? Go home and watch ESPN. I don't know what to tell you.
Grady. Yes, Golick. There's another
also,
pick in.
If you're a Vikings fan and you're looking for Vikings analysis, ESPN not going to give it to you. They certainly didn't last night. Love me some Greeny, but so the Browns have 2 picks in the first 4 of the second round because of that trade with Jacksonville. Shadur Sanders is still chilling, right? Unless I don't know if he went right now, but the Browns took Carson Schwessinger, linebacker from UCLA, with the first pick in the second round. And then the Texans took Jaden Higgins, wide receiver from Iowa State. Titans on the clock right now with the 3. Clearly, they're not going to take Shadur Sanders. I think the logical landing spots are probably Browns at 4 and Saints at 8, like 4th in the second round, and then maybe Saints, I guess. But it's getting real interesting.
I don't know at this point. Shadur. I don't know. It's weird.
Here's a thought: you'd eliminate all of your own leverage if you did this. Yeah. With a trade, like a subsequent trade. But could I pose the San Francisco 49ers with the 43rd overall pick? I'm sure they ran a bunch of scenarios on what might happen in this draft. They did not plan to draft a quarterback in the first round, but did they run a scenario where Shadur Sanders is sitting there at the 43rd overall pick while they're $8 million apart on a non-elite Brock Purdy? Would you rather have 4 years of Shadur Sanders or pay Brock Purdy $53 million a year? Just throwing stuff out there.
That's an interesting one. San Francisco is so here's where I think San Francisco would make some sense, though. I think whoever takes Shadur has to be a really good organization, because I do believe that the Dion thing scares teams, and I don't believe that's like the only thing, right? But if you're a weak, pathetic, non-respectable team, let's say the Jets or Browns, okay, and you take Shadur, Dion's going to push you around. If your team struggles, fans are going to call for him, right? Name him coach. Name Dion coach. So San Francisco would actually make some sense because I think that their culture is really, really pretty solid.
Yeah. So, all right, we'll get back to like the Seahawks just moved up 17 spots. They're now on the clock at 35. We can get back to like some of that. I'd love to read you guys just real quick here, just digging around the internet for what are people saying about the Vikings first round draft pick, Donovan Jackson, who just did his local press conference, sat down with, I know Doogie did a sit down with him. I saw Doogie in a little suit and tie.
They gave very brief, I guess they basically said, you could talk to him, keep it brief.
Say hi, ask 2 questions, and
Duke's
then
probably
pack your stuff.
Heck no.
So Field Yates, we touched on this one earlier, but I think it's worth reiterating. Field Yates has been all over ESPN just lauding this draft pick. He tweeted, Donovan Jackson to the Vikings just might be my favorite pick of the night. By the end of this past season, he had put elite tape at both guard and left tackle. An extremely dependable, selfless player. He's tough, rugged, and athletic. Excellent football player, according to Field Yates. Our guy Doogie tweeted this earlier today, that one of the many good things he heard late last night in digging around about Donovan Jackson, he played at an elite level in the playoffs, the college football playoff in January. He only allowed 2 pressures on 126 passing plays, playing out of position at left tackle. He turned down Georgia and Texas out of high school to go to Ohio State. So he had offers out of high school, Texas kid, from basically the best programs in the entire country. Our guy Thor kind of sprinkled some Donovan Jackson seeds in the last couple weeks. He had Donovan Jackson as the second best guard on his big board behind Gray Zabel, who went 18 to the Seahawks. And he noted that Donovan Jackson has the longest wingspan of any interior offensive lineman in this year's class.
Football.
That's how you create leverage against those
Absolutely.
pass rushers.
Absolutely.
And then I'll throw this one out here too. Will Raggets, our buddy who covers the Vikings, said that Donovan Jackson had a decision to make last year on. So Donovan Jackson said this on a conference call. He had a decision to make on if he was going to move from left guard to left tackle after Ohio State starting left tackle got hurt. He knew there was some risk involved if he went to left tackle that his draft stock could tumble, but he didn't care. He was all in. Quote, I just wanted to win. Doing the selfless thing, risking his draft stock to play left tackle for Ohio State.
So I got a question about that, though. Like, if you're confident, like if you know that you're good, right? And you're moved to left tackle, like if you're not sure of yourself and you're like, I'm a guard, then I would get being hesitant to move. But if you're confident, and by the way, if your wingspan is that big, you're probably going to be, if you're a good O lineman, you're probably going to be a good tackle. So he probably was smart enough to say, hell yeah, I'll move to left tackle, where, by the way, I increase my value tenfold if I'm good. And if you're confident, you're not going to be afraid. So, like, it does make sense that it was actually a great move. And the fact that he was successful at left tackle, I mean, yes, the Vikings probably, I'm sure, want him to play left guard. Ideally, Darisaw plays for a long time, right? But Darisaw just, got hurt last season. There's no guarantees when he's back necessarily. We think he's back, but we don't know. And you now have a guy that can just slide over and play left tackle, and played it for a national champion at a power, 4 now?
Yeah.
Like,
I think the Pac-12 is trying to reload with I don't know, Montana. Who's going to the?
Are we going back to Power 5?
Well, I think the Pac-12 is trying to reload here. Let's see here.
I think we're Power 4 now. Yeah, the Pac-12 trying, but are they going to be allowed? Are they going to be part of the? Are we going back to Power 5?
Dude, they're reloading.
No, I know. So they got a bunch of schools.
Because Washington State and Oregon State stuck around, but they're adding Utah State, powerhouse.
Yeah.
They're adding San Diego State, Colorado State, Boise State. That's a fun ad, and Fresno State, and also Gonzaga, but not for football because Gonzaga only plays basketball.
I don't think you're a Power 5 then. I think we're still Power 4. Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right.
The Browns are just out on Shedeur Sanders, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they've now had 3 chances to draft Shedeur Sanders in the first 36 picks, and they have passed all 3 times. They took Ohio State running back Quinshon Judkins at 36, and the Seahawks actually moved up 17 spots to take that South Carolina safety Nick Emanwari that frequently was mocked to the Vikings, and maybe there was an argument behind the scenes, but the Vikings went offense instead. So, boy, this is an all-time tumble for a quarterback.
When's the last one like this? Because there's always a tumble, right? It feels like now that they're all, but like, when's the last tumble of this? Wow.
So what was Will Levis? He went
23, 22.
No, right? He went out of the first. Right?
He was a second round. Okay. He went to 33.
Okay.
So this has surpassed the Will Levis tumble.
Where did Malik Willis go?
3rd round.
Okay.
Because at one point he was kind of like maybe a top 10 projected guy, and then he wound up falling to the 3rd round. But
it's funny too. It's funny too, though, what the reality of what the league thinks, especially on quarterbacks, and what the mockers think, or us, right? Like, we're like, oh, Shedeur for sure, he's going 1st round, and the league's like, no, he's probably.
Well, and if you're the Browns probably decided 2 months ago or a month ago, whatever, that we're out on this. We're not going to do this. But it would be foolish of them to float that to reporters.
Absolutely.
Because guess what they want? They want a team to call them. Now, it turns out the Jaguars called them about Travis Hunter, but you want it to seem like, hell yeah. I'm sure even like early in the 2nd round, I don't know if the Seahawks made an offer to the Browns, because to move up 17 spots, you get a nice little juicy haul. But super interesting, man. Yeah, this is Malik Willis territory.
So are the Browns really going to go into the season with Pickett and
Flacco
and Flacco? Like is that really it?
Kirky boy, add another one to
but is that what Stefanski like? Stefanski's last supper is going to be Pickett and Flacco. And I feel bad for the guy. I think he's a good coach. He's won Coach of the Year twice.
I know.
He's good. I really think he's good, and I think he'll get a job quickly again. But, I mean, my God, you're going to be asked to go into a year where I would guess that you have to have some success or you're probably gone. And it's Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett.
You know, if the Browns franchise goes back, like the original, because they got to keep the original Browns history, right? It goes back like 100 years.
Yeah.
And obviously there's like Paul Brown is the legendary coach from the Jim Brown era, like the 50s and the 60s. So he's the best coach in Cleveland Browns history. And then Marty Schottenheimer had a really nice run before like Declan and I were old enough to watch football.
Couldn't get past the Broncos and Elway.
But I think you could make a case based on context and circumstances that Kevin Stefanski is like the third or fourth best head coach in Cleveland Browns history.
Yeah.
Able to be competitive and win Coach of the Year a couple times.
Yeah.
With the current cesspool infrastructure, the knee-jerk ownership, like it's crazy.
That's the thing is the old Cleveland Browns who moved to Baltimore certainly had issues. I'm not saying that they didn't, but if you look at it, there's playoff appearances. They couldn't get past the Broncos, but they still had success. The new Browns who began in 99 or so, I mean, they're just a dumpster fire. They are just a complete joke. 30 quarterbacks, something ridiculous like that. And so, yes, Stefanski, given the circumstances of like bad dumpster fire teams, Kevin Stefanski is one of the best coaches of like, let's take the recent Jets, we're a joke. If you look at what Stefanski's done, it's really impressive.
I would, man, because he's going to get fired at some point, and I think he should. It would be so much fun to watch him operate with an actual franchise that, I mean, of course, when you fire coaches, it means your franchise is somewhat unstable, obviously, but just like a level or two up from Brown's instability, because I think he could do. I think he could be like a 10-year coach somewhere with his demeanor, his offensive acumen. I don't know. Good luck to old Kevin Stefanski out there.
I just wonder. I still, for big picture, way beyond the Vikings, I still think that I would. I mean, if I was the Browns and it does not look like this is going to happen, I would rather take a chance on Kirk.
But isn't Flacco kind of filling the?
Yeah. No, but I'm saying I would have rather taken a chance on Kirk than Flacco. Yeah. When we saw Flacco, he started here last season, right, for the Colts. I mean, it was painful. Yeah. It was like sad. It's like, dude, you should go away. Go back to your couch. It's done. And now he's going to, potentially start in 2025.
Yeah. Okay. Old Dex tweets. I think the big controversy that I see in the comment section today from our Feedback Fridays that you didn't give enough love to was it Dan, right, that sent the Culpepper jersey? Dan. And some people right now in the comments from a few minutes ago wondering if this is like a heel turn, that Dex didn't give the requisite thank you and acknowledgement and sat on that gift for like 4 or 5 months. I'm wondering if you've seen this blowback today or if you've been completely offline. And if you have any response to it.
No, I see the blowback. I mean, I guess I understand where people are coming from. It was probably a weird thing to do. I never opened it. I don't know. I didn't really think. I didn't like. I looked at it every day. Like I think I threw it in the closet. And then
how many times did you
out.
think about it over 4 months?
Probably little. Probably very, very little. Because it was. I probably got brought home because it was mailed to the studio. I probably brought it home. And then it's been in my closet, and then we're barren in this house right now. We got a bunch of stuff moving out, and then I remember like, oh, there's that. So I found it. So I guess this is my John Cena way of saying you get nothing. Like I know. No, I'm very grateful for it. In fact, my wife said we should probably frame it and hang it up. So yeah, if you want to call me a douche.
Son of a beaver said, by God, it's Declan with a steel chair. Of not caring.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have been touched. I like if I had gotten that, I would have opened it and been so thankful. And I feel like, and it's your childhood hero too.
Yeah, I love it. I'm probably gonna put it so like where my new studio is in the new house is like in the basement, and I got like this great little runway here. So I'm gonna probably put it like on the side wall, I think, because I have like an actual place to hang stuff up. So
We should get old Dante to sign that thing. I wonder if he would, like, if you mailed it to Dante, would he?
bet he would. I think he's on his Instagram's bio still says I'm on Cameo. I think so. I wonder how do I get a cameo of him acknowledging the signing or something? I got to do something.
A cameo and a signing of the jersey. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does Dante come back to town much?
He was at U.S. Bank, right? They had him on the field like for a game. I don't know, pre-pandemic. I remember Judd and I think we were at the game for that. So, but I don't think he comes to town much. No, I think he's hanging out in Florida.
He's definitely he's hanging around, like running football camps and stuff. I think he's connected to Central Florida still in some way.
Oh, is he?
According to his Instagram. I don't know if he just like shows up or whatever.
Yeah.
So the Dex heel turn was overstated. Dex also is like in the process of moving. He just got married. Dex has a lot going on in his life.
Oh, it's not now. No.
I
What
sense
gets
the
me
appreciation, but a lot of people were like, wait a second.
Well,
that was a sociopathic behavior to throw a present in the closet for 4 months.
I think it was more back at Christmas time when you didn't, like, not now. Now I get it. You're busy now. But I mean, at Christmas, he sent you a gift, a card with a dog's on it. Like, that's what amazes me is you didn't open it upon arrival, because at that point in time you weren't moving or anything. There was nothing really going on. Would have been an easy time to show appreciation, Christmas spirit, and instead you threw it in the closet.
Well, I think even I came back from the honeymoon around my birthday. I probably was in the office like once between then and like New Year's. So I probably grabbed it, and then Christmas happened and I forgot to open it.
I'm guilty of this with mail, where I'll stack like letters and whatever, could be like a bill or whatever, and this is how my car got repossessed from the Hubbard parking lot 10 years ago. It was like it's auto pay until it wasn't, because of like an account that changed. And Judd was sitting in there when the maintenance guy came in. He's like, "Do you drive a whatchamacallit?" And I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Yeah, it just got towed out of the parking lot." What?
Yeah. And the best part is, you, as I recall at the time, you were doing an endorsement.
I was
for the dealership.
Yes.
So you're endorsing a car that just got repoed, which I guarantee you has never happened before.
It was my fault, but
no, I know, but I guarantee you it has never happened where a personality on the air gets his car repoed that came from the endorsement.
The Dolphins have taken the Arizona guard. Is it Jonah Savianea? Not going to be Shadur Sanders with the 37th overall pick.
I'm sure Greeny got the pronunciation right. Okay, so
he probably did, or he probably ignored it so they could rant more about how Shadur Sanders is continuing to fall down the board, opposite of what Mel Kiper thought.
I got a question for you boys. After what's happened with the Vikings since the free agency moves, in totality now, how much better is the offense today? And the quarterback thing is in flux, like it's, but just say McCarthy's good, not even great. How much better is the offense today than it was at the end of the season? And that is also giving credit for 13 wins, so not just like the Rams game.
Yeah, Dex.
Yeah, I think it's pretty damn good. I mean, your playmakers are legit. I love the Jordan Mason addition. That's where I don't think you have to have the need, even though this running back class is obviously supposedly really good. The fact they don't have a pick between now and the late 90s, you don't have to like dip into your resources to go reach for a running back or use capital that you probably should just save for next year regardless. So I like that a lot. And they've always had great tackles. They've had great tackles with Darrisaw and O'Neal since Darrisaw was drafted, but the interior's just been revolving doors. And now they finally have addressed it. Now there's age concern, there's injury concern. Sure, that's going to exist for a lot of different things in the NFL. But offensively, like if McCarthy's even, I think we're all just assuming, like, oh, McCarthy's going to be legit, man, and he's the next MVP. And man, I hope that's the case. But do the Vikings really even, I'm not trying to like downplay my expectations for him, but like, do the Vikings even need JJ McCarthy to play at an MVP level? Like, is that the requisite? I don't think it necessarily is, especially if your running game's fixed. So I don't want him to just be a game manager in 2025, but I do think setting our expectations for him is probably something that we'll just have to wait to evolve as the offseason rolls on.
I have a question off that. Put a pin in it, circle back here in a second. The JJ McCarthy thing, because that is kind of a fun, like what is the bar for him if the Vikings are going to go to the conference championship game or something? But I think The Vikings can throw the football with anyone. The Vikings threw the football with Nick Mullins. Kirk Cousins had a bunch of fourth quarter comebacks. Sam Darnold's career was saved. 9-figure contract. McCarthy's going to be able to throw the ball in this system. Justin Jefferson, Hawkinson. It's the running game. I mean, it's kind of crazy when you look last year at some of the best offenses. The Vikings had 4,000 yards passing. They were one of, 8 teams that went over 4,000 yards passing. I think sack yardage is accounted there too. But they didn't even get to 1,900 rushing yards. The Eagles had 3,000 rushing yards as a team. The Commanders, now mobile quarterbacks, but the Commanders had 800 more rushing yards than the Vikings did last year. The Ravens had 3,000 rushing yards. Lions had 700 more rushing yards than the Vikings did. So I feel like if you take a little step back in the passing game, but your running game goes from bottom 10, maybe bottom 5 in certain metrics to being a top 10 running game, that's how you get to be one of the 5 best offenses. They've been like a fringe top 10 offense in Kevin O'Connell's 3 years, like yards per play, scoring offense. But to get to that next level, it is running the football. I think they know that. We're going to focus a lot on, can JJ McCarthy repeat Sam Darnold's performance? And that is a talker. But I think it's more about, can the Vikings running game become the 8th best running game in the league, the 7th best running game in the league by a bunch of different measurements?
I feel like the offense is being built now, though, so McCarthy doesn't have that pressure on him, which is the most important thing. Like, I think McCarthy has the luxury now, and it's smart of O'Connell and the Vikings, that he doesn't have to ball out in week 1. That if he spends the first 7 weeks, let's say, of the season managing the game, and I know that's a bad term or word, but I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. Good quarterbacks do it all the time. But if he can manage the game. But the stat that I found today on the running game that boggles my mind and that has to change is this one, the rushing touchdowns. So in O'Connell's first year with Dalvin here still, and he was at the end, but he was, effective enough. They had 18, which was tied for 7th in the entire league. So that's not bad, right? Then it dropped to 7 in 23 and 9 last year. 7 was tied for the fewest in the entire league, and 9 put the Vikings ahead of only 3 teams in a 32-team league. And that's where, because I mean, that stat with no context is a reflection of your inability to score on the ground in the red zone.
That's crazy. And at the top of that list, and again, there's some really mobile or great red zone running quarterbacks that help with this. So we'll see if JJ McCarthy can use his legs once in a while. But the Buffalo Bills had 32 rushing touchdowns. The Eagles had 29. Okay, those are the tush-push teams with crazy big athletic quarterback and Josh Allen. And let's take them off. The Lions had Jared Goff at quarterback. Crazy legs Goff wasn't running for double-digit touchdowns. They moved the ball into the end zone with offensive line, scheme, and a great tandem in the backfield. So the Lions had 29 rushing touchdowns. The Packers had 23. The Colts had 20 rushing touchdowns with Will Fries and Ryan Kelly. I mean, those Fries got hurt after like 5 weeks, and Kelly had some injury issues. But yeah, that's crazy. Like the Vikings are spotting the Lions 20 rushing touchdowns. And you got to find a way and they make it up a little bit in the passing game, but to be able to just call a handoff from the 5-yard line and have it be blocked and get in, isn't that a lot better than Darnold dropping back and sailing passes into the 3rd row against the Lions in Week 18?
And that's
crazy.
Incredible. And that's the nuts thing. I went back and looked today at that game. Second quarter, I think there were 3 chances in the red zone, and third there was 1, and it is nuts. So I found from like the 3, the 7, and the 5, I think it was, I found something like 13 plays or 14 plays. 11 of them were passes. They just abandoned the run completely.
Yeah.
And that's where I think Mason comes in here. So the Packers didn't keep Jones, but I think what they did do is when they went to Jacobs, they basically said, we need a guy who can batter people. Like, and my guess is in the perfect world, that Jones is going to see plenty of work between the 20s, but I think you're going to see a heavy dose of Jordan Mason in the red zone, and especially the deep red. And the more I looked at it, I actually think the Lions game probably had more effect on O'Connell's mood than the Rams game. The Rams game was embarrassing. You got sacked 9 times, but the whole team stunk. Like the whole team was bad.
That's a good point.
But the Lions game, you left. So you scored 6 points of a possible 28. Like you literally left 28 points, like all very gettable out on the field.
Yeah. Because I said last night at the draft party that Kevin O'Connell made the decision that they were going to completely overhaul all 3 interior offensive line positions at the podium after that Rams game. But you might be more on it that when he, with his play calling, decided against the Lions playing for the 1 seed, he can't even confidently, his quarterback is a nervous wreck or whatever and can't complete a pass. And he'd still rather call a pass play from the 8-yard line than a running play. So let's come back to the JJ McCarthy thing here in a moment. Also, the second Ohio State running back just came off the board among a number of picks. So Trevion Henderson to the Patriots as we follow this second round. Still, the Bears are on the clock. Still no Shedeur Sanders, right?
Yeah. Luther Burden, wide receiver,
Bears?
one of the Bears, though. So another playmaker for the Bears.
So the Saints are on the clock. Quarterback needy Saints. If he gets past the Saints at 8,
Yeah, then
Bears,
he might not be taken tonight, or he might not be taken until 3rd round, if the 3rd round.
Could the Jets do it? I know they got Justin Fields, but the Niners would be wild. The Niners.
I sort of like your thinking. I do like the infrastructure. I do like the infrastructure to be able to absorb a little bit of the circus there.
And but then the world knows you have to trade Brock Purdy, so you'd be, I don't know, but at that point, I guess if you could get anything and just not pay him $53 million, maybe that's the value. So we'll keep I feel like we should at least stay alive until Shedeur Sanders gets picked somewhere. I don't know, maybe he falls to day 3 at this rate.
I got all night. I'm staying home, so that's fine with me.
You'll crack a Padres.
I'm not going anywhere.
Why don't you tell us about Padres? I'm sure there's a couple Padres on tap for you tonight.
Absolutely, I would love to. Padres is, look at that, a couple of beers for Sports Dad. What couple of beers? Those are Padres beers because they're absolutely delicious. I've been talking now about the red, and the red is so good that the Star Tribune wrote an article saying you got to try this beer this summer. So here's the thing, Sports Dad, on top of this stuff when it comes to Padres, right? Well, I got another beer here. In fact, kill the video for a second, Tex, if you'd be so kind, because I'm going to turn you folks on. I'm going to turn you folks on to a new beer. That would be the Patty's Premium here. This is what you call a Sessions beer. This is what you call the beer for the pontoon, right? You want a little something, but you don't want too much. A great beer to drink, a great sipping beer, Patty's Premium. Padres can be found, of course, in liquor stores, bars, and also in Northeast at their own location. Absolutely outstanding. Appreciate all of you who tried Padres last night at the draft party.
If you need a renovated patio to drink the Padres on, Minnesota Rusco could help you out there. Minnesota's hometown remodeler since 1955. And they'll do patios, indoor, outdoor. They'll do patios. They'll do decks, roofing, bathrooms, siding, doors, windows. 70 years of experience with all of your interior and exterior home improvement needs. You got, 5 days left here in the month of April. And that's how long you have left to take advantage of Minnesota Rusco's biggest sale of the year. It's the free days sale. For a limited time, get totally free labor on all kitchens, bathrooms, windows, siding, roofing, doors, and decks. And you'll receive payment-free and interest-free financing and a free gift. So you can never have too much free. Go get that patio renovated so you can take Sports Dad's beer recommendations and enjoy these summer months. And also, looking ahead to later in the year, we're a big event town here, the Twin Cities. The World Juniors are coming to town in a few months.
You talk about a tournament. If you like hockey, I'm going to turn you on, if you don't know about this, to the best tournament that there is. It's an annual tournament called the World Junior Hockey Championships, and it is coming to town 10 days starting December 26th at the X. This is, I'm telling you, Sports Dad approved. I watch this every year. It is fantastic. I am so excited. Runs December 26th through January 5th, but lock in for tickets now. Group play packages are on sale now. Just go to worldjuniorsmn26.com, worldjuniorsmn26.com. And in fact, they had a booth at the draft party last night. So let me tell you now, USA, I got the flag. I was very happy. Go US and go buy tickets to the World Juniors.
I'm expecting a Judd heel turn, and he's going to start rooting for Finland or something by the time.
Oh, Canada. Go Canada. No. I'm a US guy, man.
Hey, before I throw a JJ McCarthy question off Declan's point from a few minutes ago out, just thoughts on the Bears here. So the Bears all in on offense to start the draft. First round, Colston Loveland from Michigan, and then Ben Johnson and company snag Luther Burden, the third wide receiver from Mizzou. So they've clearly gone in here into the offseason saying, we're also going to revamp our offensive line and bring in some guys that know what they're doing. And then we're going to spend the first 2 picks, early first round, early second round, on tight end and wide receiver.
By the way, another quarterback went off the board before Shedeur Sanders.
What? No, dude. This is wild.
Is it Tyler Show? Is that from Louisville?
I think that's how you pronounce it.
Tyler Show.
Yeah.
He's going to the Saints.
Wow.
Oh, this is, yeah. Poor Shedeur sitting in his draft room that they made special for him.
Wow.
This is an all-timer. What? Wow. That's really high for the Louisville quarterback, too. Interesting. So now the Jets are on the clock. I'm just looking at quarterback. I mean, the Jets need a long-term quarterback. The Niners don't have a long-term quarterback under contract. The Rams at 14?
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Who's the Stafford backup even? Yeah, it's just a Slappy, right?
Because now we're getting to a point where teams that did not think about this going into yesterday,
right,
are now having the conversation of all right. And I look, the Niners and the Rams are 2 teams where they're probably like, all right, I mean, should we do it? Should we get creative here? I don't know.
You could wait now too, unless you get super excited about the prospect. Like if it's hey, if we can grab him 3rd round, I wonder if you would alter your 2nd round strategy, or just wait till the 3rd round. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, this is I mean, if the Saints were going to take him, obviously they would have, because they took a quarterback there. The Browns are just out, straight up out. Or are the Browns? The Browns had 3 chances to take him. If he got to the 3rd round, would the Browns be like, all right?
I don't think so. I think when you pass,
it'd be weird.
I think when you pass on him that much, you have made a very definitive statement.
And he'd be pissed, right?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. But
right.
Yeah, this is. I mean, he might just go 3rd or 4th round now. Who knows? I did hear one report today, I forget which one, saying that they would not be surprised if he did not get taken tonight.
What?
And actually went into Saturday. I mean, which would then, but that then exceeds.
How does that happen?
But that exceeds anyone I can recall.
But and I get like guys slide or whatever, but how can it be that credible public, even like Pro Football Focus was probably the most negative on Shedeur. They had him, I don't know, like 25th or something on the big board. But if he was 25th on NFL teams' big boards, is he really getting this far into the 2nd round where he's at risk of not being drafted till the 3rd round? Like what? This is one of the craziest disconnects between public perception, mock draft perception, what's being reported, even with the negative stuff, like, oh, you might fall a little bit. This is wild. All right, I guess we'll continue to keep an eye on this. So here's my question for you. Because Dex said that JJ McCarthy probably doesn't even need to play at an MVP level. Like Sam kind of flirted with MVP stuff there for a while for the Vikings to make a run because their roster is really good. So here's my question to you guys. I'm going to insert the name of a quarterback here, a few of them, And you tell me if JJ McCarthy plays like blank, the Vikings will get to the NFC Championship game.
Okay.
Obviously, if I said Patrick Mahomes, it's a yes. Josh Allen's a yes, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that wouldn't be as much fun.
if JJ McCarthy plays like Jared Goff, do the Vikings get to the NFC Championship game?
Yes.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, sure. I'm a little torn there, but yeah,
I think
sure.
it's a yes. Yeah.
Why
Jared
not?
Goff, by the way, 72% completions last year, 4,600 yards, 37 touchdowns. That would be that'd be better than the Sam Darnold season. So it'd be a crazy season. If JJ McCarthy plays like Brock Purdy, the Vikings will make the NFC Championship game.
Yes.
No, I don't know about that one. I'd say no.
The Niners made a Super Bowl with Brock Purdy playing like Brock Purdy.
And
yeah.
multiple NFC title games.
But last season, not so much. I don't know. That's a tough one for me. I'm going to say no to that one.
If it's like 2 years ago, Brock Purdy,
Yeah, I was going to say.
which was also kind of like it was a better roster 2
Yeah.
years ago. He's so rostered.
Yeah, and I mean his roster's going to be good, but yeah, that's a tougher one for me. Goff, I'll say yes though.
If JJ McCarthy plays like Baker Mayfield, do the Vikings go to the NFC Championship game?
That one I'll say yes.
He did lead the league with 16 interceptions. He also had 41 touchdown passes on the high end of that.
But I mean he's turned himself into a very effective QB in his system. So if he can, my guess is if JJ McCarthy played like Baker Mayfield, but he's here, he probably doesn't throw as many picks because of the circumstances.
Right.
But I mean, Baker has had a second act that is really impressive. Like I did not think he was capable. So I will say yes on that one.
I'd say yes too.
yeah.
Yeah. Say yes.
I think Dex and I both kind of stand for Baker.
Yeah,
I was
I like Baker.
out on Baker like 3 years ago.
Well, you should have
Just
been.
his weird confrontational attitude but yeah, he's gone from being a bust. Like people would, if 3 years ago, if you would have gone through like first round quarterbacks, you would have probably put him in the bust bin. And now he's legitimately a fringe top 10 quarterback in the league. Okay, a couple more here. If JJ McCarthy plays like Jordan Love, do the Vikings make it to the NFC Championship game? Jordan Love last year, he did miss a couple games, but 3,400 yards, 25 touchdowns, 11 picks, mobility, 96.7 pass rating. He did have the fifth best QBR.
I'm going to say, so are we taking Jordan Love 2024? Like, is that the
Like a
bar
little bit
there?
lesser version of the last 8
Okay.
games from the previous year.
I'm going to say no, they don't. He doesn't make the conference championship game, but he does make the playoffs.
Oh man.
So no on conference championship game.
Jordan Love's your guy.
I like Jordan Love. I think if he didn't play for the Packers, I don't think our Purple Daily audience would have as much strong of opinions as they do against him. I'm just gonna say no, but only because it's only been 2 years of him being the starter. They haven't gotten there.
Yeah.
Like Green Bay hasn't gotten there, so I'd say no.
Playoff
And
team,
then-
though.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been a
playoff
playoff
team,
team.
for
Yeah,
sure.
won a playoff game. And then, okay, last one. If JJ McCarthy plays like Bo Nix did last year, do the Vikings make it to the NFC Championship game?
I'm going to say no. I mean, again, I think they'd be a playoff team, and that would be well. I mean, for Bo Nix, I personally was shocked because I didn't think he'd be anywhere near that effective. But I'm going to say
yeses in the comments.
I'm going to say no on the championship game, because I mean that is a pretty good bar right there. Because that either means that you win 2 playoff games or you get the bye.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to say no on that one.
I think it's a no, but you're definitely in the playoffs and you're in the mix to.
The production
get
would
Kevin
be
O'Connell's first win.
for year one as a starter. The production, I think you'd be pretty pleased with.
Yeah.
Apparently, like this, I think it might be Tyler Shuck. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Forgive
Okay.
me, my Louisville.
That's fine.
I did see a
faithful.
shuck in the comments.
But
Didn't-
he was team. I mean, this guy's the Bo Nix of this class. He played for like 7 years, and he was teammates with Justin Herbert at Oregon. Justin Herbert's been in the league for 5 years.
Yeah,
So this guy's like 43.
This is the
He's
COVID
25.
class, man.
He's 25 years old. Shuck is.
this COVID class is crazy because you got a lot of these guys got a redshirt year and a COVID redshirt year, and then there's probably some guys that got like another like an injury waiver redshirt year. This is how Parker Fox was on the Gopher basketball team for a decade.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Like what, 8 years?
There is a great viral clip of him, Chuck, getting the announcement, and his dog, the golden retriever, went wild. It's awesome. It's like it's all over Twitter right now. He's just going nuts. He's like Vinny when I say WALK.
Well, the dog's like, we're rich now. Like I can get the best treats. I can get the
exactly.
best food.
That's awesome.
And Dex, this is Shuck and your guy, Kellen Moore now.
Yeah.
Don't forget, you've
I
been
love
pimping
Kellen
for
Moore.
Kellen Moore to get a head coaching job since I've like met you.
Yeah. I really like Kellen. I'm excited to see what he does with the Saints here. I don't know if did you throw out the idea of maybe them being bad to get Arch Manning or get the number 1 pick
Yeah,
last
to
night?
get the
Was
number
that
one
you
pick.
that said that?
Yeah, but I mean that was a total.
Sure.
And it still could happen. Who knows?
Yeah. I think he's a really good offensive coach. I'm excited to see what he does with New Orleans.
I just saw this dog video. It's hilarious,
awesome.
man.
It's awesome.
He's like hugging his gal. This dog's got a big smile, jumping around. So yeah, the Bills just traded up with the Bears a few minutes ago to take South Carolina defensive tackle TJ Sanders, and that puts the Jets on the clock with the Niners after that. If Shedeur Sanders doesn't go to the Jets or the Niners, Cowboys, dude, would Jerry Jones?
There you go. That makes
They're
sense.
paying Dak $60 million right now, but you could
That
stash him
fits.
for a year.
I shouldn't say it makes sense, but it fits.
Well, yeah, and Brian Schottenheimer's in no position to kill that, right? Like he's just happy to have that job. Oh, how glorious would that be? Because then you would get the inevitable start of, well, I mean, if Shedeur is here, why not have Dion here? That would be inevitable. I mean, that was the theory was that the Cowboys would take him in the first round months ago, and then
Right? Yeah.
have, in fact, didn't Dion and Jerry talk about the job at some point?
They did. Well, yeah, they did like way before the draft, obviously. And then it either didn't work out or Dion got a nice little bump from Colorado for even just like having these flirtations. But hasn't it kind of made sense? Because you didn't really know where Shedeur was going to go. And you can't, if Dion would have taken a job, you couldn't mandate that you draft your son. But what you could do is the other way around, see where your son gets drafted, and then
Right.
if that coach happens to get fired. But this would be such a we're just speculating on. There's no reporting on this, but it would be such a classic Jerry Jones move to walk in and just rip up all the scouting that his entire organization has done and saying, we're drafting Shedeur Sanders. We're going to make this happen. But then what? Do you trade Dak? Does Dak start for a year and then Shedeur sits? He just chill for a minute until 2026?
Can you trade Dak with that contract?
Let me pull that up.
Like, I don't even know if he has no trade protection. I'm just saying, who's going to, like, if I'm going to trade for Dak, you got to take on a bunch of the contract. It's a ridiculous contract.
Oh my God.
Oh, right now he has $180 million in dead cap. Next year, it's $130 million in dead cap.
And 40 guaranteed in 26, right?
Okay.
That's right. So, oh my God.
I don't know how that would transfer because his base salaries are huge and the base salaries would transfer to the new team. But they've done so much restructuring with this to kick the can down the road. They'd probably have to eat a huge part of the dead cap. So it feels almost impossible to trade Dak Prescott right now. See, this is where Jerry got himself. This is why you don't pay non-elite quarterbacks $55, $60 million a year, because this is why the Niners should do it. The Niners should do it and just say, sorry, Brock. They could even say, you're going to play out the last year of your contract here. And Shedeur's going to sit behind you. And then we might franchise you and tag and trade you that way. I don't know. But yeah, this is it's kind of uncomfortable too, because it's like for 2 days, all of his friends and family are in this weird,
I feel bad for him, but
legend room that he created. And
from our perspective, it's glorious because it's a great talker. Like, it's all the talk now. You know, Greeny is like, every second question is, well, Shedeur Sanders is still there. What do we think, Lewis or Mel Kiper? And Mel's just right now. Mel is Mel is in prime form tonight. I don't know if you guys watched it before we started, but Mel was in prime form.
Well,
Hey,
Mel takes it personally,
Yeah, I know he does. And he gets more and more pissed off. And plus, he's old now. Compared to me, he's old, which is really old. So that's a problem, too. Speaking of quarterbacks and the reckless speculation about it, if things don't go great this year for the Chargers, does Justin Herbert, do they keep running him back there?
Well, why would you pay that much money for a guy that is like bottom 5 in pass attempts?
But like you can't ignore the terrible playoff game. I still like him a lot, but you can't ignore that game. You just said and in both Herbert's case and the Chargers case, right? Like the Chargers should say, hold on a second, all we do is run. And if I'm Herbert, I would say, all you do is run. I'm like, he is an elite quarterback. He might not have been against the Texans, but I just got to think there's a better landing place for a dude. And Harbaugh wins, so all respect to him. I just don't know if he needs a guy with the talents of Herbert to win the way that he and his OC want him to win.
Yeah, his OC being Greg Roman, who hilariously has now spent 11 years as an NFL offensive coordinator with San Francisco the first time around with Jim Harbaugh, and our guy Alex Moon was on those teams. Buffalo for a couple of years, Baltimore in the first few years of Lamar Jackson, and now the Chargers. And according to Pro Football Reference, here are his team's ranks in passing attempts throughout his 11 years. Passing attempts, 31st, 31st, 32nd, 29th, 31st, 32nd, 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 9th in 2021, 28th and 28th. So, yeah, it's like you're paying, I don't know, it's like you're leasing a sports car, and you're paying like $800 a month on a lease, and you live in Minnesota and you can't drive it for X amount of months or whatever.
It just sits in the garage all the time. That's all it does.
Yeah, but it's a salary capped budget for you. So every dollar you're spending on that sports car prevents you from buying extra groceries or something else that you could potentially need. By the way, the Jets did not take Shedeur Sanders. They wind up with Jason Taylor's son, the tight end from LSU, Mason Taylor. Jason and Mason Taylor.
Wow.
And so now the 49ers are on the clock. So you now have the league is screaming from the hilltops that they are out on Shedeur Sanders. The Jets could have used him. The Giants could have used him. Chose to move up for Jackson Dart. The Browns can always use another first-round quarterback.
Browns were at 3 picks or 4 picks executed.
They had 3 in the first 36,
okay.
And they said no 3 times. The Saints have said no twice. So, like, literally all of the Titans said no because they drafted Cam Ward number 1. So all of the quarterback desperate save our franchise teams have said, we are out. And teams don't exactly have the highest bar for, like, the Giants drafted Daniel Jones 6th overall one time. The Jets drafted, what's his name? The kid from BYU who's bounced around, Zach Wilson.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Jackson Dart is no sure thing. And the Giants traded up to 25 to take him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's definitely not a huge standard. But, the factors, this is going to be a real interesting story eventually about, like, the factors when we find out how teams truly interpreted this or thought about it.
The Niners took Alfred Collins, defensive tackle from Texas. So the Cowboys are on the clock. I don't know, man. This is crazy. I still think the Rams probably went in thinking, all right, we got that 46th pick. One more year of Matthew Stafford. We feel like our team is a Super Bowl contender here, so let's go get a piece that we could use right now. But if they kind of like Shedeur Sanders, do you get tantalized by the idea of drafting the replacement for Matthew Stafford? So that's probably the next team up on this list.
But is there just a general perception that was completely missed that teams don't think he can really play? Like this is such a huge fall, and I'm sure there's character concerns or his personality. There's Deion concerns, but at some point in time, if you've got the talent, they'll just stop your fall, right? Like no one's stopping the fall.
Yeah, no one's moving up.
That's an incredible statement.
It's wild. So, well, we said we were going to do 45 to 60 minutes here and then kind of play it by ear and see what the Vikings are up to later. Plus, we're going to have a Flagrant Howls post-game live stream on the Score North YouTube channel after Wolves Lakers game 3. So let's part ways for now, and then we can keep our eye on what happens, and obviously we'll react to whatever happens with Shedeur Sanders as this completely non-Vikings related interesting storyline over here. But any final words of wisdom from you guys before we say goodnight for now anyways on the
Time to
Purple
brew
Daily
coffee.
channel?
It's time for me to brew a big pot of coffee. Late night pot of coffee. We'll tucker it out.
Friday night, man. I if I have coffee like after 4 p.m., I am up permanently. So I cannot do coffee. I will probably crack a cold one or two. That'll probably happen here very shortly as Stone Cold turned heel that one time. Stone Cold turned heel for a little bit there. Maybe that's my move. I just come on and
change your entrance music too.
Yeah, change the entrance music. Oh god, that stunk. I hated when he did that. Yeah, no, I the Vikings have put them. I like the Kwesi analogy from yesterday of the golf stuff. If we have 4 players that we can draft that we really like at good positions, then we'll stick to that plan. We don't have to be trading up, trading back, moving all over the place. You have a plan here, and they're sticking to it.
Yeah. The one guy that in our mock simulation exercises that I've become completely enamored with is that Bowling Green tight end that caught like 115 passes.
You're smitten.
I want another tight end so you can lean into the run game more. You can run 12 personnel, and you can have another great red zone target for JJ McCarthy. So I kind of hope they wind up with that guy. Thor loves that guy. Harold Fannin. Fannin.
That's right. Yeah, that's Thor's guy. Although
he is
PFF didn't like
76th
him,
on the
right?
Okay, yeah.
Oh, do you want that Purple Daily Anonymous tip? We never got to that.
Oh, sorry.
It's quick. It's quick on me.
Yep.
I don't have to spend a whole lot of time on it.
No, let's do it.
All right. Okay.
So anonymous tip line. So I had someone come up to me yesterday that traveled very far away. And he has a relative who lives very far away from where they're from. And he just said, let's just say I came into town because he had it on pretty good authority of where his relative was going to land.
Okay. So he's not even a Vikings fan?
He happens to be a Vikings fan, yes.
Okay.
And they came in from far away because this potential draftee is also plays football close to the state of Minnesota.
Can you say who the player is?
Yeah, I think so. Can I say the player? I think I can say the player.
Well, I think the goal is to not out the anonymous
Yeah,
tip
let's
line
out
person,
the player.
right?
Yeah.
We can out the player, right?
Oh,
okay, yeah, we can out the player. He
question.
didn't give me the name of the player, but I figured out who it was
That's good.
because
I mean,
it
you
was
could
very
just
simple.
Yeah, the couchable way here would be you spoke to someone close to or with knowledge of the situation of the player that you're about to unveil, that there's some interest, right?
Aiden Williams.
Okay.
He is actually plays football at Duluth, UMD, and he's got some interest.
Okay.
Oh, good for Aiden.
Yeah,
Good for Aiden. Could be a good undrafted
Might be a
free
day
agent
3
signing for the
yeah. Might be a
The
day
old Vikes.
3, might be UDFA. I don't know. Could be one of those two, but
Very nice.
came near and far away.
Look at that. The Purple Daily Anonymous tip line. Never rests.
Division 2 now. We're down to Division 2 schools that we're mining.
Yeah, and we don't discriminate. If it's a Justin Herbert rumor, awesome. If it's a UMD rumor, practice squad, that's fine too. The Purple Daily Anonymous tip line is always here.
Reckless speculation.
Oh,
All right,
Texas.
well.
Wait. Check out the comment. Ryan Hodges, 7:05 p.m. The tips are pouring in, boys.
Oh,
Let's see here. Well, you just gave away. Is this supposed to be anonymous? No, he's got his name on
No,
here.
his name's on it. The tips are coming in. I don't know if it's
My
not-
nephew's friend lived with Caleb Johnson at Iowa. He said the Vikings told Caleb that if he was there at 97, they were taking. Well, that would be awesome. I feel like I would be shocked if he's there at 97. But
I agree. But who are we to decide what can and can't appear?
and the fact that Shedeur Sanders is still sitting out there as we get closer to 97, apparently. So
I wonder if that was. I wonder if that's the tip Tom got.
oh, could be.
Like it does seem. I agree with you. I don't think he'll be there. But like that's the type of guy who, if he did fall, I think they would grab.
You know.
I could see
Yep,
that.
I'd be in on that. That's one of those where, all right,
That's a Thor guy.
if he falls that far and you got 2 running backs you like, cool, add a third one because he could be awesome. So, all right, so we'll be nearby. We will monitor. If something crazy happens, we will jump back on. I think if they stick and pick at 97, because we're going to be doing a Wolves postgame show, what we might do is just release a reaction to that in the morning on the Purple Daily YouTube channel. But, yeah, we'll see what happens. For the Sports Dad Judd, for Declan, our executive producer, I am Phil, and this is Purple Daily, where we just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die. See you.